Pay close attention, because in this video, we're going to see what the word "and" really means in logic and how we can use it in a truth table. Let's get started. In logic, the word "and" connects two propositions. For example, I'm going to use the letter P to represent the proposition "it's raining" and the letter Q to represent the proposition "the ground is wet." Both "it's raining" and "the ground is wet" are simple propositions, but we can connect them using a connector, which in this case will be the logical operator "and." So we get "it's raining" and "the ground is wet." Yes, symbolically we can write it like this. We write P, we put this symbol, and we write Q. Here, I'm already representing "it's raining" and "the ground is wet." This is called a conjunction. As you can see, the conjunction is the logical connector "and," which is symbolized like this and is used to join propositions and form compound propositions. Let's go with another example. I'm going to represent the proposition, "Yesterday I went to the park" with the letter R, and the proposition, "My mom gave me 500 pesos" with the letter S. So, how could I symbolically represent the compound proposition, "Yesterday I went to the park and my mom gave me 500 pesos"? Well, it's very simple. We would have to write it as follows. We're going to write R, and don't forget that it's written with this symbol. Notice that this is already a compound proposition. How do I read it? Yesterday, I went to the park and my mom gave me 500 pesos. That's it. Let's go with example number 3. In this case, I'm going to use the letter Q to represent the proposition, "Your house is bigger than mine," and the letter R to represent the proposition, "Your house is very beautiful." Let me ask you, how can we read this compound proposition? You're thinking about it for a moment. Here we have Q and R, but how can we read it? Very good. We could read it as, "Your house is bigger than mine, and your house is very beautiful." We could read it that way. But since we're talking about your house both times, we're going to write it like this instead. Look, I'll show you over here. So the compound proposition Q and R would be, "Your house is bigger than mine, and it's very beautiful." Keep in mind, if you write "Your house is bigger than mine and your house is very beautiful," that's also fine. But since I insist we're talking about your house, we can write it this way. Look, before we move on, I need you to remember that a simple proposition can be true or false, right? We already saw that in video number 2, which I'll leave up here for you. Well, it turns out that a compound proposition can also be true. So pay close attention to what's next. It's pretty interesting. Let's say P is the proposition. The week has 7 days, and Q is the proposition. The year has 12 months. You will agree with me that P and Q is, the week has 7 days, and the year has 12 months. Here it's important for us to ask ourselves about the truth value of each of these two simple propositions, and also the truth value of this proposition. So start thinking, is this proposition P true or false? Very good, that's a true proposition. So I'm going to put a T in parentheses here. Now let's go with this other proposition. The year has 12 months. Is this proposition true or false? Very good, it's true. So we put a T. Let's look at this P and Q. That is, the week has 7 days and the year has 12 months. So this is also a true proposition, right? Let's put a T here then. To make it much easier to represent what I'm putting here, let's put, for example, proposition P over here. Over here, we'll put proposition Q, and here we'll put the compound proposition P and Q. So let's go ahead and fill in the first results we've already gotten. All right, that when proposition P was true, and proposition Q was also true, the proposition P and Q is also true. So it would look like this. Let's go with 2 more propositions. I'm using the letter P to represent the proposition 10 is even, and with the letter Q, the proposition 10 is greater than 20. Let's see its truth value. Come on, start thinking. This will be a proposition. True or false? 10 is even. Very good. Here we're going to say it's true, right? Now this other one. 10 is greater than 20. Is this a true or false proposition? Correct. It's false, right? 10 is not greater than 20. So now let's think about the conjunction. That is, this compound proposition. Is 10 even, and is it greater than 20? Is 10 even, and is it greater than 20? No. So let's say that this proposition is false. And now, let's fill out this little table. So when we have that proposition P is true, and proposition Q is false, then the conjunction, that is, P and Q, is also false, right? Now we have that proposition P is, the capital of Michoacán is Uruapan, and proposition Q is, Europe is a continent. Start thinking about the truth value of P and Q. Let's see. Let's think. Is the capital of Michoacán Uruapan? Is that a true or false proposition? Very good. It's false. Why is that? Well, because the capital of Michoacán is not Uruapan. In fact, it's Morelia, right? So the truth value of this proposition P is false. Now let's look at the truth value of this proposition Q. It says, Europe is a continent. Is this a proposition? It's a true proposition. So let's put a T in parentheses. Now let's see what happens with the conjunction. It says, the capital of Michoacán is Uruapan, and Europe is a continent. This compound proposition is false, right? It's not true that the capital of Michoacán is Uruapan, and Europe is a continent. So the whole compound proposition is not true. So for that reason, I'm marking it as false here. Done. Now, let's say that when proposition P is false, let's write that down, and proposition Q is true, then the truth value of the conjunction, that is, of the compound proposition P and Q, will be false. So it would look like this. Let's finish with these two propositions. P. Albert Einstein was Dutch. Q. Marie Curie was German. Let's think about the truth values. Let's start with proposition P. Albert Einstein was Dutch. Is this true or false? Very good. It's false. And actually, Einstein was German. So proposition P is false. Now let's go with proposition Q. Marie Curie was German. This proposition is also false. Actually, Marie Curie was Polish. Now let's see what happens with the conjunction. Albert Einstein was Dutch, and Marie Curie was German. Well, this proposition will also be false, right? Therefore, let's fill in the results. When proposition P is false, and proposition Q is also false, then we have that the truth value of the conjunction will also be false. Done. As you can see, we've already covered all the possible options. We have true true, true false, false true, and false false. This table here is called a truth table, and in this case, it's the truth table for conjunction. So please take a screenshot or copy it into your notebook, since we'll be using it in upcoming videos. If you notice, this table makes a lot of sense, because it's like, if I tell you, I'll give you an apple and I'll give you a pear. If I give you both, then I'm keeping my word. But if I only give you the apple and not the pear, then I'm not keeping my word, and vice versa. If I give you only the pear but not the apple, I'm not keeping my word, since I said I'd give you both. So giving just one means I broke my promise. Now, if I don't give you the apple or the pear, then obviously I'm not keeping my word either. So, I insist, the table makes sense. In summary, in the truth table for conjunction, it's only true when both propositions are true, and it's false in all other cases. And for homework, I'm going to ask you to do the following. Look, given these three compound propositions, you have to tell me the truth value of the conjunctions. That is, you have to tell me if this conjunction is true or false, if this conjunction is also true or false, and the same for this other conjunction. When you have the answers, write them down here below. I'll give you a nice big heart if you get them right. All right then, see you next time. Take care and behave yourselves. Bye. I'm waiting for your homework. Don't forget. Goodbye.